Welcome back to episode 7. Before we go anywhere, grab your notebook and a pen right now. Not after the intro, right now. Because the formula we are about to put on paper is one you will see on the exam, recognize in a real project status meeting, and carry in your toolkit for the rest of your career. Writing it down with your own hand is how it moves from the screen into your memory. So, pen out, notebook open. With that ready, let's talk about where we are in this series. We are in the second half now, and if you've been here since episode 5, you can already feel the difference. The problems are getting richer, the decisions are getting harder. In episode 5, we cracked open schedule variance, the formula that tells you whether your project's timeline is, winning or losing. In episode 6, we put that knowledge under real pressure. 3 variables, 1 sponsor in the doorway, 1 correct leadership move. If you have not seen those episodes yet, go back and watch them first. This series is built like a staircase. Each step only holds if the one beneath it is solid. That staircase brought you here. Today, we climb the next step, and this one has a different feel to it. We are leaving the world of variances, those subtraction problems that tell you the gap between where you are and where you plan to be. Today, we step into the world of indices, specifically the Cost Performance Index, CPI. And the difference between a variance and an index is, it's the difference between a gap and a rate. One tells you how far off you are. The other tells you how efficiently you are operating, dollar by dollar, hour by hour, across every single piece of work your team has touched. That efficiency reading comes from one division problem, earned value divided by actual cost. But what it reveals is something far more powerful than a single number. It's an X-ray. It shows you the financial metabolism of your project, whether your team is converting spending into value efficiently, or whether every dollar that leaves your budget is quietly buying less than it should. The PMP exam loves CPI precisely because it's easy to calculate and surprisingly easy to misinterpret. Today, you'll do both correctly. Let's start by laying out exactly what we are going to build together. 4 objectives on your screen. Write these down next to that formula space you just left open, because each one is a lens that, sharpens how clearly you can read a project's financial story. A. Calculate the Cost Performance Index using the EV divided by AC formula. We'll do this live, step by step, with real numbers on the screen. B. Interpret CPI values with precision. Not just whether the number is good or bad, but what it's telling you about the relationship between spending and output. C. Internalize the $1 rule, the single most powerful way to explain CPI to a sponsor or stakeholder who has never heard of earned value management. It turns a ratio into a sentence anyone can understand. D. Lock in the distinction between variances and indices at the formula level, because on the exam, mixing up subtraction and division is one of the most common and most costly mistakes a candidate can make. Those are the 4 lenses. Now let's bring them all into focus on a real scenario. Here's where you are standing. You're the project manager on a large-scale construction project, the kind where the site stretches across a full city block, where cranes are visible from 3 streets away, and where every single day of delay carries a dollar sign next to it. It's mid-month. The dust is still settling from the morning briefing. You sit down at your desk, open the progress report, and 2 numbers are waiting for you on the page. Earned value, $500,000. Your crews have delivered $500,000 worth of real, inspected, signed-off work. Foundations poured, framing raised, progress you can physically stand on. Earned value, $500,000. Actual cost, $400,000. Hold both of those numbers in your mind because now your sponsor is waiting for an answer. They're not asking to see the spreadsheet. They're asking one question. Is this project healthy? Are we getting what we're paying for? Or are we paying for more than we're getting? That's the question. 4 interpretations are in front of you, and only one of them is both mathematically correct and logically sound. Let's find it. 4 options on your screen. Each one pairs a calculated CPI result with a project health verdict. At least one of them will feel immediately right. At least one is a mathematical trap disguised as a plausible answer. And at least one fails in both directions at once. This is exactly the architecture of a PMP question, designed not to test whether you know the formula, but whether you know it well enough to catch the moment it's being used against you. Take 20 seconds right now, drop your answer, A, B, C, or D, into the comments below, and write one sentence explaining why. Not just the letter, the reason. Your 20 seconds starts now. Good. Let's open each option and see what's actually inside. Option A says CPI equals 1.25, and the project is under budget. Let's run the math right now, live on the numbers we have. Earned value is $500,000. That's the numerator, the value your team has actually produced. Actual cost is $400,000. That's the denominator, the money that has actually left your budget to produce it. 500,000 divided by 400,000 equals 1.25. Write that down. 500,000 divided by 400,000 equals 1.25. Now look at what that number means. It's greater than 1. In EVM, a CPI above 1.0 means you're producing more value than you're spending to create it. For every dollar walking out of your budget, $1.25 of real, verified work is walking onto the project. Your team isn't just on track, they're, operating at a surplus of efficiency. The math is correct, the interpretation is correct. Option A is our strongest candidate. But before we close the door on the others, let's make sure the remaining 3 don't hold up. Option B says CPI equals 0.8, and the project is over budget. The interpretation is internally consistent. A CPI below 1.0 does mean over budget. If this number were correct, the logic would hold. But is 0.8 what our numbers actually produce? To get 0.8, you would need to divide $400,000 by $500,000. Actual cost divided by earned value. That is the formula inverted. It is the calculation you get when your hand writes AC first and EV second, when the instinct to put cost before value overrides the rule that earned value is always the numerator. The result looks plausible, the number is clean, the status sounds reasonable. That is precisely what makes this a trap. Option B is eliminated. Let's look at the next door. Option C says CPI equals 0.75, and the project is over budget. This one requires you to pause and ask a simple question. Where does 0.75 come from? Neither 500,000 divided by 400,000 nor 400,000 divided by 500,000 produces 0.75. To arrive at this number, you would need to introduce a variable that does not exist in the problem, perhaps substituting planned value for earned value, or pulling a figure from a different calculation entirely. This is the trap built for candidates who have the concept right, but the arithmetic loose. They know a number below 1.0 means over budget, so they scan the options for something below 1.0 and choose whichever one looks familiar. The status sounds correct. The number is invented. Option C is eliminated, and one door left. Option D says CPI equals 1.1, and the project is under budget. Greater than 1.0, under budget. The logic is right. And if this were a different scenario with different inputs, 1.1 might be exactly correct. But with $500,000 of earned value and $400,000 of actual cost, the math does not land at 1.25. It lands at 1.25. Close is not correct. On the PMP exam, a number that is almost right is the same as a number that is completely wrong. Option D is eliminated, and with 3 doors now closed, only one remains open. The verdict is clear. Option A, CPI equals 1.25, and the project is under budget, is correct. $500,000 of earned value divided by $400,000 of actual cost equals 1.25. The result is above 1.0. The project is performing efficiently, producing more value than it is consuming in cost. The reference for this type of index analysis is Process Group's A Practice Guide, page 311. And now that the number is confirmed, let's talk about what it means in the real world, because this is where CPI becomes, genuinely useful beyond the exam room. 4 things to lock in before you close your notebook. Write all 4 of these down, one beneath the other, right now. 1. The formula. CPI equals EV divided by AC. Earned value on top, actual cost on the bottom. Draw a line between them if it helps you visualize the division. This fraction is the heartbeat of cost efficiency in EVM. 2. The king rule. Earned value is always the numerator. Always. In every index formula in the entire EVM framework, earned value sits at the top of the fraction. It is not a convention, it is the rule. Get this order right, and every performance index you encounter will fall into place automatically. 3. The $1 rule. This is how you translate a CPI into a sentence a sponsor can understand without any EVM training. Write this version down. For every $1 we spend, we are getting $1.25 of value in return. That is what a CPI of 1.25 means in plain language. It turns a ratio into a story. And on the exam, and in the real project room, the ability to narrate what a number means is just as valuable as the ability to, calculate it. 4. The status rule. CPI above 1.0 means under budget. Your value output exceeds your cost input. CPI below 1.0 means over budget. Your spending is outrunning your progress. CPI exactly at 1.0 means you are performing precisely on budget, dollar for dollar. The number is not just a score, it's a diagnostic reading on the financial health of everything your team has built so far. Great work getting through episode 7. You came in today knowing how to measure schedule performance. You are leaving with a second instrument in the cockpit, one that measures cost efficiency with the same precision. Schedule variance tells you whether your timeline is winning or losing. CPI tells you whether your budget is being used well or quietly eroded. Together, they give you a complete picture of project health that no single metric can provide alone. That complete picture is about to get even sharper. In episode 8, we shift domains entirely, stepping out of the EVM framework and into the world of scope. Specifically, how to protect your project from the slow, quiet creep of unauthorized changes that can derail a timeline, drain a budget, and frustrate a sponsor, without anyone ever formally approving a single alteration. It's one of the most practical and most tested topics in the entire PMP curriculum. Do not miss it. I will see you in episode 8.